Hello friends and welcome back. So in this session we are going to cover the WebLogic foreign server. Okay, so what we have learned so far in the previous sessions that foreign server is a kind of a server which we use in the messaging where your WebLogic is need to send the messages to some foreign or some remote servers, right? So that means suppose that you have a WebLogic server where you have deployed some applications, okay, and that application need to communicate to some other foreign servers or to a remote server, okay. So that means there could be some another WebLogic server which is acting as a remote server, okay, or there could be some other like the IBM MQ, right? Your WebLogic need to send message to IBM MQ, or there could be some other like the Active MQ, or there could be Rabbit MQ, right? So these are called the remote servers because your application is trying to send the message which is there in the separate domain or maybe in the separate messaging providers, right? So here IBM MQ, Active MQ, Rabbit MQ are the separate messaging providers, and if it is in a separate domain, that is a WebLogic, but still it is in a different domain, right? So for that, what we do in the WebLogic, we define the foreign server, right? So that means in between there is no mediator. We do not have any JMS services in between. There is no mediator. You are directly connecting from your source to the destinations, right? And what we have learned so far about this remote destination, it has to be highly available, right? Because your WebLogic is sending message directly to your applications without any mediator in between, like the JMS. Okay, so that means this need to be highly available. Otherwise, if suppose that your destination is not available, for example, your WebLogic is integrated with the IBM MQ. If this IBM MQ is not available or not responding, your WebLogic will keep trying to send the message here, and then it will have the stuck threads or the hogging threads, and it will destabilize your WebLogic environment, right? So to avoid this, what we use the JMS in between, where the messages are put in the JMS and then it is delivered to the destination. So if your destination is not available or not responding, still there is no impact on your source WebLogic domain because the messages will safely put in the JMS. But when we configure the foreign servers, so we have to make sure that our destination is very highly available. Otherwise, you will get the problem in the source WebLogic domain. Right. Now to configure the foreign server in the WebLogic, okay, there are few concepts that you have to understand properly, okay, and then you can able to understand foreign server functioning in a proper way, okay. And what is this? The very first thing is JNDI. What is JNDI? Java Naming Directory Interface. Okay, so this JNDI is defined as your application code, okay, which is looking for some specific resources in your WebLogic domain, right? For example, in the JMS, I have defined a queue. Your application need to send message in the queue. You have defined a data source, okay, which is to connect to the database. Your application need to connect to the data source so that it can get the connection for the database. So what we do, when we configure the queue, we define a JNDI. When we configure a data source, in the data source we define a JNDI, and this JNDI is defined inside the application code. That means your application connect with the data source or with the queue with the help of JNDI. So this JNDI is the Java Naming Directory Interface. So now when we create the foreign servers in the WebLogic server, okay, so we have the source WebLogic server, and then we have the destination. This could be, as I said, this could be WebLogic, this could be your IBM MQ or anything. So this connectivity is also happen with the help of JNDI. Okay, and that's why I said it is very important to understand the JNDI. So now hope you are clear on what exactly is the JNDI, right? So this is JNDI. Now to connect to a foreign server, okay, we have to do certain kind of a configurations in the WebLogic server. Okay, let me explain you that as well, or basically how it is connect. So let me talk bifurcate in a local way and then remote way. Okay, local in the sense I have an application that is deployed in my WebLogic. Okay, and where I have a queue and my application trying to look up for a queue that I have defined in my WebLogic server. So what will happen in that case? For this queue, I will have a JNDI, right? This is my application. This application defined with a JNDI, for example, my queue. Okay, and second thing, this is the JNDI for by queue, right? And to make the connectivity with the JMS provider, we define the connection factory, right? Connection factory. So how the connection is established with the JMS provider is simple. I will explain it later. Remote one. Your application is connecting with a JMS provider. This is the WebLogic here. So the connection with the JMS provider will be established with the help of connection factory, right? And once the connection has been established, that it can able to reach to the JMS resources like the queue. So that means first thing is the connection factory, second thing is with the queue, right? And your application always look for the resources with the help of JNDI. So that means you will have a JNDI for your connection factory and you will have a JNDI for your queue both, right? So that means if it is a local, that means it's a communication between your local domain, okay, within the same domain and where application is looking for some queue. So that means your application will go to the JNDI of the connection factory and then it will go to the JNDI of your queue, right? So with the help of this JNDI, it will reach to the connection factory. With the help of this JNDI, it will reach to the queue. So this is the flow how your application reach to a particular queue with the help of JNDI of connection factory and of the queue, right? So similarly, when we talk about that your WebLogic is going to send message to a remote server, okay, then it has to reach with the help of JNDI of the connection factory and JNDI of the queue. Now, what does it mean? Let me specify now it very clearly. So now this is my source WebLogic domain. This is my source WebLogic. Okay, and this is my target foreign server. Target foreign server. And for example, this is my target server is IBM MQ. Okay, and here suppose we have a queue like MQ queue. Okay, and this WebLogic server has to send message to this particular queue which is there in the IBM MQ. Okay, now for this one, what we do the integration of your WebLogic and the MQ, IBM MQ server. Okay, so this session is specifically not about the integration, but specifically about the foreign server, and I have taken the foreign server as an example of MQ server. Okay, so how this WebLogic or say the application which is there inside my WebLogic will reach to this particular queue to send the message or to read the message. Okay, so for this one, what we need the connection factory and then we need the queue, right? So here we will have a connection factory, which is the connection factory for MQ, and this is my MQ queue, right? So this WebLogic, which is going to send a message to this particular MQ, okay, so for that we need to define a local JNDI for connection factory and local JNDI for queue here, okay, because my application, okay, can read the JNDI tree of my local services, right? So for that, I need a local JNDI for connection factory. I need a local JNDI for the queue. Okay, and this local JNDI for the connection factory will point to the connection factory of MQ, and this local queue JNDI point to the remote MQ JNDI. Right. So that means why we are doing this all these exercises? We are doing all these exercises just to reach my foreign remote server MQ queue. Right. So let me explain it again. To reach to my queue or any queue, we need the connection factories, okay, which create the connection, and then you reach to the queue. So my purpose here is my WebLogic server application need to send message to this IBM MQ queue, okay, but it cannot directly reach here. So for that we need a mediator, and for that what we do, we define a local JNDI connection factory. So my application is going to connect to this particular local JNDI connection factory, and then it will going to reach this particular connection factory of the MQ, and then I need to define the local JNDI for the MQ queue, okay, and then request will go here to the local queue JNDI, and with the help of that it is going to connect here to my MQ queue, right? So in a nutshell, To create the connectivity with the foreign servers, okay, I need the local JNDI of the connection factory and I need the local JNDI of my queue, right? So this is the overall, you can say, the flow when we do the configurations of the foreign server. So what we need to define a local JNDI for connection factory. We need to define a local JNDI for the queue, right? And then we need to map it with the MQ connection factory and MQ queue, right? So now here, one thing that you should understand, I initially said that remote server could be anything, right? So this is my source, which is the WebLogic. This my target or the remote server. This could be WebLogic, or this could be the MQ server for IBM, and there could be many. So when we integrate this, when we do the configuration of the WebLogic with any of the remote server, okay, so the connectivity is depend based on to which provider you are connecting. Okay, for example, if I'm connecting from WebLogic to different WebLogic domain, so I will use some different initial configurations for connecting to this particular domain. If I am going to connect to my MQ, okay, then definitely my initial configuration for the connectivity will be different, right? I may need the IBM MQ server IP address and then port, okay, and then few more information to connect to this particular MQ server. Similarly, if I'm going to integrate my WebLogic with some other like the active MQ, so I need some basic details of active MQ server for connectivities, right? So that means whenever you are going to integrate with any of the foreign server, the initial basic configurations for the connectivity will be different completely based on the providers, right? And let me now explain you here. So this is the basic details that you need when you are going to integrate or when you are going to configure your foreign server, specifically the IBM MQ. Or in a nutshell, we can say that when we are going to define the foreign server in the WebLogic to integrate my WebLogic with the foreign MQ server. Okay, so these are the basic details I need. The very first thing what I will do, I will create the foreign server. Okay, once the foreign server is created, I will create the connection factory. When the connection factory is created, I will create the foreign destination, right? And this is what we have learned. This is my source and this is my target, and in target there would be a connection factory to connect to the particular queue. And because my WebLogic cannot connect directly to here, so I need define a local connection factory JNDI. I will define a local local JNDI for the queue. My application will connect to this particular local JNDI and queue, and with the help of that it will reach to the destinations, right? So that means here when I'm defining this create foreign connection factory, so I will define two things: local connection factory JNDI and remote connection factory JNDI. When I will define the foreign server destinations, so I will define the local JNDI for the queue, and then I will define the remote JNDI for the queue. This one, right? Now, apart from these two, the initial configurations when I'm creating the foreign servers, okay, the two important parameters that we specify is the first thing, Java naming factory initial. This is the initial connection factory JNDI, and second thing is Java naming provider URL. So this particular setting, the first one, depend on which remote provider you are going to connect, and this depend on that particular provider configurations. So now here I am going to integrate create this foreign server for the MQ server. So the details that you are seeing here, this is the initial connection factory, and this is the MQ server details where my MQ is running, host and port, right? And this particular class which you are seeing here, initial context factory, okay, this comes from the jar files, and this is the MQ jar file. So when we integrate the MQ with the WebLogic, so we need to copy some jar files for the MQ client in your WebLogic class path, right? Why we add this MQ client jar files here? So that we get this particular class for to make the connectivity with the MQ server. Similarly, if you are connecting with some of the third party other providers, like you are connecting with the MQ, Active MQ, or maybe Rabbit MQ, so that particular remote service messaging providers jar files you need to place here. Okay, so this specific configuration based on the jar files that is we get with the help of MQ servers, right? So this is the basics of your configuration of the foreign server. So what I tried here, I tried to explain you when we configure the foreign servers, what are the important basic concepts they should clear about that one, and how we configure this foreign server and how the mappings are works, right? This is very important because when you start configuring the resources in your WebLogic server, for example, now I will show you with the executions as well. Okay, So when you go for the configuration, because as I said, JMS and this messaging is bit confusing topic until unless you are not clear on the basics. So if you go here and then you are going for the configurations of your JMS resources for the foreign server, okay, then it will ask you for the multiple details like create foreign server. It will ask you for the provide the initial factory for the connection, provide the URL. When you will create the connection factory, it will provide the local JNDI, then remote JNDI. When you will create the foreign destination, it will ask you to provide the local JNDI, remote JNDI. So if you are not clear on these topics, what exactly it is, then you will always be confused on the foreign server. Right? So I tried my best to explain you the basics of JMS foreign server so that you will get the complete end-to-end understanding. Right? So now in the next session, I am going to show you how to configure the foreign server.